Hello, YouTube channel. Long time no see. Might as well explain that. So, absence from the videos. That's probably because I've been kind of tied up with work and other stuff. You know, Christmas. You know, the usual stuff. The family stuff. Anyway, so as you probably saw on my Facebook page, this particular video is as comprehensive as I can get it. An overview of the WWE United Kingdom Championship Tournament, which took place last weekend. This should have been done on Monday, but I got called into work early. Didn't have a chance to do it on Tuesday, and I got sidetracked talking to one of my friends over in Canada yesterday, so it never actually went up. So, what do we learn from this, first of all? So, Triple H, William Regal, fantastic job finding the talent. When the talent list was first announced, there were a few names on there that nobody had heard of. So I think Triple H, they were more aware of that, which is why they added Mark Andrews, and then a couple of other names started to filter through that had been heard of across the country. Presentation, instantly, you could see how committed WWE were to the presentation side of this. They had the graphics on point. The opening video package, including stuff like SummerSlam, all the other British stuff that's happened in the sport of professional wrestling, whether it's been related to WWE or not. Well done by the production team. So, we opened the night with Trent Seven versus HC Dyer. Can't read my writing in a minute. So, Trent Seven, early favourite. I would have picked him to win the whole tournament, but as luck would have it, as you'll find out as I do this review, maybe I was a bit presumptuous in what I'd said about Trent Seven. So, it's Trent Seven. Fans are going to know who he is from his runs with ICW, stuff like that. Fans massively behind him. I'll be honest, I have no idea who HC Dyer is even now, even after his match with Trent, which, let's be honest, I think it was a showcase piece for Trent. They were trying to make Trent work and put him over as probably the odds-on favourite, which, you know, he was from the moment the tournament came out, and the first set of competitors were released before they added in people like Mark Andrews, Joseph Connors, people like that. If any of you haven't seen HC Dyer's finishing move, you need to look at it. It's really lethal. If you get hit with it and it goes wrong, you're going to get hurt. I think Trent Seven was aware of that. You know, they both did what they needed to do. They sold very well. The spots were done perfectly. But, you know, ultimately, WWE weren't going to have Trent Seven lose to HC Dyer, because HC Dyer is still, from what I can remember and what I know about HC Dyer, he's still relatively young in the business. He's still got a future ahead of him. So they wanted to give someone the advantage going over. So Trent Seven had to be given the advantage. So he had to have won that match. Just a quick note, Trent Seven has nicked his finishing maneuver from Okada. Sorry, my phone's ringing. Sorry, didn't expect that one. Anyway, Okada's finishing move is technically the one move that Trent Seven uses, but he adds a little bit into it. So he basically hits a forearm, then transitions across into the seven, then into the seven, whatever the hell he calls it, lariat. I'm going to call it a rainmaker for argument's sake. I want to quickly bring something up about the commentary. Everyone criticizes Michael Cole's commentary, but if you saw the tournament, you've got to give Michael Cole props. He definitely did his research. He knew what he was talking about. He had Nigel McGuinness with him, which gave him a massive edge over somebody who would have been there with him, like, I don't know, if they had taken Byron Saxton, Corey Graves, any one of them, they wouldn't know what the hell they were talking about. Nigel McGuinness, being British and being a wrestler, for Britain, but having wrestled for so long in Britain, it's a massive, massive advantage to have that type of knowledge with you when you're commentating on a show in Britain. So next we had Jordan Devlin, Finn Balor number 2, apparently, having not seen him before that, versus a guy who every NXT fan would be familiar with, and most people in the UK touted as being one of the best professional wrestlers on the independent circuit in the UK before he was signed to WWE. Yes, I'm talking about Danny Burch. This match, I don't know whether or not to say that this match was supposed to end the way it did, or if when the ending happened, Devlin and Burch had no clue it was going to happen. So basically, the match was good all the way through. Devlin stands out. His attitude is a real plus point. He's been compared to Finn Balor because Finn Balor trained him at OTT Wrestling in Ireland. His gimmick is ready-made. I'm probably going to say this again later. His gimmick is ready-made. His gimmick is always going to be that he is trying to make a name for himself and not just be the guy who was trained by Finn Balor, who was in the United Kingdom Championship Tournament. So, we never got to see Jordan Devlin's finishing move or Danny Burch's, because Devlin hitting Enziguri, and when he clipped Danny Burch on the back of the head, Danny Burch started to bleed. Now, I don't know whether or not that was an accident or deliberate, but it seemed that it was an accident, and the referee was concerned enough to count the 3 off for Devlin, regardless of the fact that Burch actually kicked out. Obviously, Burch felt he could carry on, but I don't think the referee was prepared to risk any major injury to Danny. So you could call it controversial, but you got to remember the WWE's medical team have to be very careful nowadays because of the concussion stuff. They're looking out for the welfare of the wrestler. I think if there had been a different outcome, then Devlin would have won regardless. I don't think they were going to have Burch over Devlin because they know that Devlin is basically one to watch for the future. He's a year older than me. Jordan Devlin is a year older than me. He's 26 years old. And his future is bright. It doesn't matter what happens now, but his future in the industry is bright. Danny Burch should have been given longer in NXT, because if they'd have given him a chance to show his character, show his true character and his actual amazing in-ring work, he would have lasted a hell of a lot longer in NXT than he did, and might have been considered to be in the future NXT champion. I'm just saying. So we move on to a guy who I consider to be a dark horse in this. Saxon Huxley against Sam Gradwell, the local boy. So would have been a major fan favourite had Trent Seven not been in the tournament. Look, let's be fair. I thought they were going to let Saxon win because I hadn't heard of Sam Gradwell. I had heard loosely of Saxon Huxley. So when I looked him up a couple of weeks before the tournament, well, not a couple of weeks, but a week before the tournament, to try and see who we were having in this thing, I was impressed. I was very impressed with Saxon. So, I've got notes in front of me because I actually wrote the notes on the Sunday. No, that's it, on the Saturday for night 1, because I had to watch it back because I was out on Saturday. So I'm just looking at my notes. So, obvious comment to make here. The fans. British crowds are amazing. They proved that again in this tournament with a chant I never, ever thought I'd hear in professional wrestling. So, just think, if you don't know who Saxon Huxley is, look him up. Look at his picture. Don't look at his video thing, but look at his picture, and you'll understand this next statement. The fans cottoned on to this pretty quickly. They realised, okay, he looks like, this guy. Midway through the match, you could hear a "Let's go Jesus, Jesus sucks" chant, and you could hear it in Michael Cole and Nigel McGuinness's commentary. They were trying not to laugh at it, because never in the history of professional wrestling have I ever heard this, and I don't think anybody else will ever hear a "Let's go Jesus, Jesus sucks" chant. But it shows you how passionate British wrestling fans are, and why we are so much more entertaining than the American fans. Grabwell can grapple. No question about it. Grabwell is a grappler. He's amazing. He's brilliant. What I saw from him in that match against Saxon Huxley was somebody who was desperate to prove himself in any way he could. So for him to go in there with the whole thing of being a grappler, something we don't see every day now in WWE, whether it's on NXT, Raw, SmackDown, 205 Live, it's not an everyday occurrence. Grabwell is very, very, very good as a grappler. And it kind of suddenly, and once you saw that as the match went on, you suddenly realised, okay, it's different. He's different. They're going to put him over Huxley, and they did. Now, Huxley, I'm going to call him something. And people can have a go at me all they want for this slide, but Saxon Huxley is a thinking man's wrestler. He is like a younger version of Triple H. If Triple H were thinner and had, well, less muscles. The thing with Saxon Huxley is a unique competitor because he evaluates things. He looks at what he's done so far in the match, and if he sees something wrong, he can change it on the fly. And again, I was so convinced that Saxon Huxley was going to go over and win that match. Oh well, I'm more than happy to admit it. I was wrong, and I was wrong about Sam Grabwell. You would have thought, though, in terms of Sam Grabwell's finishing move, he would have picked something else, given a diving headbutt is kind of the reason Chris Benoit ended up in the state he ended up in before, he killed his family and himself. Anyway, that's not a discussion point. Grabwell won that match, and Grabwell, honestly, he deserved it. We move on to Pete Dunne and Roy Johnson. Who the hell is Roy Johnson, and where did they find him? Honest to God, when I saw the matchup on the brackets where they released him, I thought instantly, I don't know who Roy Johnson is. I don't know where they found him, but they're going to bury him. And in a sad set of circumstances, as much as Roy Johnson probably wanted to prove something, when they told him he was up against Pete Dunne, he probably realised, right, I'm done. Pun on the word. Anyway. My notes say I don't know what to make of Johnson. Well, I don't know who the hell he is, so that's a kind of a moot point at this point. Pete Dunne is a very, very good heel. I'm not going to use my notes for this. Right, so here's the thing with Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne appeared on a series over here on BBC Three before it moved online, and that's how I knew who he was when his name came out. He went through on the reality series. He went through a bunch of gimmick changes, and it was based and the show, just for the point, was based around where he lives in Birmingham. So he went through gimmick change after gimmick change. Once I saw the show, I suddenly thought, okay, major company should be looking at this guy. He wrestled Steve Corino and got his butt handed to him by Corino. But nevertheless, he impressed people in the UK. People impressed Progress enough to give him a chance. But, you know, he disappeared. And when he re-emerged in this tournament, and when I saw what had happened, and he became the bruiserweight, I look at it from the standpoint of it's an amazing change to his gimmick to give him this really clever heel persona. I don't care who I have to beat to get my job done, I'm going to do it anyway, and if I have to cheat to do it, I'm going to do that too. Pete Dunne is the Progress champion. A belt held by people like Marty Scurll, Mark Haskins off the top of my head, and one other, Jimmy Havoc. So he's in good company, having been and still currently Progress champion. Roy Johnson, to his credit, put up a hell of a fight and a hell of a showing against Pete Dunne, but there was no way they were going to have Pete Dunne lose. I don't like his finishing move, Pete Dunne. A pump handle downward spiral it doesn't work for me. Pete Dunne is a grappler and a brawler. He's a combination of the two. If you're going to do that, then you're going to want to beat the crap out of the guy. But for them to then pull out this pump handle downward spiral, it's kind of like an anticlimactic moment. But I will say this: if he was to lose the Progress Championship and wants to make a name for himself stateside, then WWE really, as a company, should start looking at this guy as a potential future star across the board, whether it's on NXT or Raw. But I think he'd be suited to to SmackDown straight away. I wouldn't sign him to NXT. I'd sign him and stick him on SmackDown. But yeah, he managed to win. I say managed to. He was going to win anyway. So we move on then to Wolfgang and T-Bone. T-Bone did an interview with Charlie Caruso before the match. I couldn't understand what the fuck he was saying. T-Bone, when he talks very quickly. So he sounds like me when I'm, stressed, stuff like that. He sounds very similar to me, given the speed of his interview. So I have no idea what he said to Charlie Caruso. I couldn't tell you even if I wanted to. I love Wolfgang. I love the fact that this guy is unquestionably one of the most underrated talents in the United Kingdom, and because he works in ICW exclusively, he doesn't get the credit he deserves for anything. So for me, he is guaranteed to be a star. Even at 29 years old, almost 30, I'd still be saying to WWE right now, sign him. And this may never be seen by anybody at WWE, but if you're William Regal or Triple H, for God's sake, sign Wolfgang. Don't let him slip through your fingers, because if he leaves ICW, loses the ICW championship at any point, he will end up somewhere like Ring of Honor or TNA, and you cannot lose him to TNA or Ring of Honor. They won't know what to do with him. Clearly, WWE do. T-Bone is T-Bone's massively aggressive off the bat, straight away. They didn't have him waste any time. He headbutted Wolfgang. Again, why are WWE insisting on headbutting, having people headbutt people? Something I wouldn't do, but again, as I've been watching professional wrestling now, whether it's WWE or anything else, for about 12, 13 years, and along the way I picked up on how to book a wrestling show just off by using my imagination. You don't have headbutts in a match. It just doesn't. It adds nothing to the storyline. Look, bottom line, Wolfgang was going to win this match. T-Bone, I'll admit it, I thought he was Welsh. He's not. He's from somewhere in... I can't remember where he's from, but he's English. For some unknown reason, he has only worked for Preston City Wrestling and Welsh Wrestling. I have not yet heard of him inside of Progress or anywhere else. So, when I first heard about him a couple of years ago, I thought he was Welsh because he was working explicitly in Welsh Wrestling at the time and he hadn't made the jump into PCW at the time. So yeah. Wolfgang's finishing move is a Swanton Bomb. So for those who don't know who Wolfgang is about 250 pounds and he can execute a Swanton Bomb almost as well as Jeff Hardy, who's only about 215, 220 pounds. That's how he wins matches. He's different, Wolfgang. He's different in the fact that oh god, what have I got? He's different. He's different in the fact that he can outmaneuver you. He can outthink you. He can outmaneuver you because because like Braun Strowman, he's deceptively quick. If T-Bone were to sign with WWE, I could see T-Bone working in a partnership with Elias Sampson, the Drifter, and whatever the hell he was going by, T-Bone on the night. It works. It is just an instant thing. That's exactly what you would think of. If you're listening, WWE, there's an idea for you. There's a hook for you. So, you know, it's for me, as I said earlier on, you gotta give Wolfgang a chance. You can't have him in the tournament then go, no, maybe not. Go back to ICW, defend your ICW title, then get back to us. Just in case you're wondering, the next time you'll see ICW is at the Square Go. And here's a bit of an ironic set of circumstances for you. Wolfgang is defending the ICW Championship again against Trent Seven. I'll explain that one in a minute. Okay, so Connors and James Drake followed that up. Again, didn't know James Drake, but I knew Joseph Connors. Early on in the videos I did earlier on, much earlier on, months ago, I mentioned NGW. Joseph Connors is a staple of NGW, and his gimmick is really, really bizarre in NGW. This couldn't have been further from that. No gimmick, just Connors being Connors. James Drake, very, very talented. It was more a brawl than it was a grapple fest or high flying moves. Anyway, it was a brawl. It was a brawling match, and you could see it in how both men worked. Somehow, I missed the fact that James Drake was very good because I forgot to look him up. I didn't have a chance to look up everybody. I only looked up the people I presumed were going to be put through. So I did that, but that's how I did it. I didn't look up James Drake. Another thing, I didn't know Connors was missing an ear, part of his left ear. I don't know if they made the fact up that he was left for dead in a barroom brawl. I can't be certain if that's true because I can't find anything about him online per se, other than his roster page on NGW and wherever else he's been wrestling in the UK. I can't find anything about how he lost the ear. He's kind of like he is basically Britain's Mick Foley if you're going to compare him to someone who's lost an ear. Drake was aggressive in the match. It just wasn't enough. The WWE had obviously made a decision, as I said, about people like Connors and that, and it showed when he just got in the ring. You could see how behind him they were, with Cole saying that Connors was the dark horse for him. So, you know, it was interesting to see how they had James Drake work, how they had him come across as the more aggressive, but yet he still went and lost. The setup for the DLD, which is Connors' finishing move, very, very good. I've never seen that done before. Lariat into a backbreaker, which then sets up into a Uranagi hold into a basic complete shot. I've never seen it before. It was a pretty interesting finisher, given the fact in NGW, Connors' finishing move is a hammerlock DDT. I think it's just a much more... aesthetically, I think the Don't Look Down looks more impressive than a basic hammerlock DDT. Right. Now, I'm going to basically tell you the truth. Mark Andrews and Dan Maloney. Mark Andrews is the greatest wrestler to come out of Cardiff in the last couple of years. He's the best. Being Welsh, everything I had was behind Mark Andrews. The minute he got announced into that tournament late, I had this vision of him going all the way and winning it, and it would have been amazing to see him do it. So let's get this straight, right? Dan Maloney was never going to win that match. Dan Maloney, no clue who he is. I don't think anybody knew who Dan Maloney was, unless you religiously follow British wrestling. Then you're not going to have known who Dan Maloney was. Mark Andrews blew him away. He did some things in WWE in that match for the tournament that he would not have been allowed to do in TNA. And in case people are wondering, he didn't break his TNA contract to do the tournament. His contract expired, so he was allowed to be in the tournament. Which, you know, let's be frank, you put him in any tournament, he's going to do well. Should have won it, but you know, shit happens, as they say, and WWE pick up on how people are reacting to certain individuals as the night goes on. Nights, in this case. So yeah, Mark Andrews should have won the entire thing. But he's Welsh, I'm going to say that, because I'm Welsh too. Right. Final match of the first round was Tyler Bate versus Tucker. Again, not really sure who Tucker is. All I know is he's Northern Irish, and you know, put him against Tyler Bate, who's only 19. That cinched it. The minute they said Tyler Bates' age, and the minute you heard the reaction of the fans in the Empress Ballroom, I think you were pretty much guaranteed to work out who was going to win that match. It's not just me, though, is it? I mean, it can't just be me. I'm going to ask a question. Comment on this below, because I genuinely want to see the feedback to this statement. Tyler Bate is like a younger version of Jack Gallagher. Am I wrong? I think he is. And it's not just the way he looks. It's certain nuances. There's certain things he does in the ring that remind me of Jack Gallagher. That's just my opinion. As I said, I'm interested to know what people think, because it's really odd to see another competitor like Jack Gallagher in that situation, in a tournament situation for WWE, who is very similar in his ring work. Tucker was actually very impressive. I will say this though about him: he showed something. Now, I think the best way I can put this is, if people in the UK didn't know who Tyler Bate was, you can bet, beyond reasonable doubt, Tucker would have won that match. But he didn't. I absolutely love the variation of a Tiger Bomb that Tyler Bate does. It's a high impact Tiger Bomb into a jackknife cover with a jackknife cover attached to it, so it's less likely that someone's going to kick out of it, and that's why Tyler Bate impressed me, because he's able to do things that, well, let's be honest, most wrestlers wouldn't want to do. I can't imagine anybody wanting to do a Tiger Bomb anymore as a finisher. I would have done it, but that would have been that's me being stupid. So we came to the end of night 1. Nigel McGuinness disappeared from the commentary position, which instead of being ringside because there was no room, which was exactly what I thought would happen. He went. They were up at the rafters of the gantry, if you would. He went down onto the stage with William Regal, and they were introducing the semi-final matchups. So you'll hear what they are in a minute. I'm just gonna quickly. So they did all of that, and the thing that stood out for me was the fact they went with storyline development. I think with Grabwell and Pete Dunne. So after all that was done, just as they were going off the air, Pete Dunne decided to forearm Grabwell in the face. Now, the minute that happened, after they backed him off, the broadcast on the network, the live broadcast, stopped. Later on in the night, they uploaded the rest of the footage of him beating the crap out of Grabwell after the footage, after the network special itself had ended, and it set up for a very interesting encounter between both Grabwell and Pete Dunne. Regal still plays getting really, really angry at people who disrespect the authority of the company very well. It's very, very clever. So I'm pleased they went with storyline development and gave Pete Dunne a bit of an edge to him, because, it was a 2-night tournament. You wouldn't expect anybody to be given a gimmick and give storyline development properly. So there's obviously something that WWE are not saying in terms of Pete Dunne. So night 1, it was okay. It wasn't amazing. It was good. Revised my okay to good. It was good. If I was to give it a grade, I'd probably give it a B+. They just needed to get the singles matches out of the way to get to the important bits, which was night 2. So on night 2, I don't know why we could have had the quarterfinals night 1. Timing constraints, probably. So on night 2, we had the quarterfinals, semi-finals, and we had the final part of the show. So immediately at the gates, match 1, Grabwell, done. That match, simply put, had to be ended quickly to sell Grabwell's back injury. It took about 5-6 minutes to finish the match off, where, again, WWE made Pete Dunne look massively aggressive and, sick in the head for how he'd been acting in the build-up to the tournament, semi-finals and all that. So, obviously, Pete Dunne won, but he didn't do his finishing move. He did a body slam into the corner, into the turnbuckles, and pinned Grabwell off that. But, again, that was purely for story development, which, for me, worked. We go into the second match of the night, which I just watched it back so I should know. This is Mark Andrews versus Joseph Connors. It's Mark Andrews again. I mean, same as I said earlier. He's Welsh. He won. Joseph Connors is... my opinion of Joseph Connors is so high, though, in the same way that Michael Cole's was. Connors is undoubtedly one hell of a talent. He's just not ready to be put in the main stage and the spotlight of WWE just yet. He will be eventually, but not straight away, not yet. Not like Mark Andrews is. So Andrews won with a shooting star press. Again, he does that move better, in my mind, than Billy Kidman. And the other thing you got to remember is the shooting star press has technically been banned by WWE, because the last time anybody, like when Billy Kidman used it, he clipped with his knee Chavo Guerrero Jr. in the head. So it was technically banned for a while. No one had done it other than with special permission, like Matt Sydal. So, you know, it was technically banned, but Mark Andrews doing it does it better than Billy Kidman. He doesn't do it better than Matt Sydal. That's just fact. You can argue that. You can argue that if you want, but with me, Matt Sydal does that move better than Mark Andrews. But he's Welsh, being a Welshman myself. He won that match, so I was happy with that. Obviously, he's a massive fan favorite wherever he goes, because British fans have been exposed to him on TNA with the challenge deal, which expired, and obviously he wasn't happy not being seen by a British audience, so he needed to work out a way to do that. So he's been back in Britain working his butt off since his contract expired. We move on to Wolfgang and Trent Seven. Watch Fear and Loathing, the last one, and then watch them at Square Go. That's what you're going to get. That's what you basically got here, a shorter version of that match. Again, and here's the thing, with Seven and Wolfgang, the only reason Trent Seven didn't win the match at Fear and Loathing is because Wolfgang, they weren't going to have him lose the title just yet. There was no point. This was different because it was a shorter version of that match, and again, Wolfgang is quite impressive, and obviously the guys backstage at WWE think the same thing. Otherwise, Trent Seven would have won the match, but he didn't. And again, Wolfgang won with a Swanton Bomb, which, again, for a 250-odd-pound man to do the same with a similar impact of that of Jeff Hardy, it amazes me even now. And again, WWE should really be looking to sign Wolfgang. There's an opportunity there for him to do it, so they need to do that. I'm trying to keep this video as comprehensive as I can, but also working with a time frame. I don't want to be talking for too long. So, Devlin and Bate. Again, what do you say about Jordan Devlin? I said it earlier on, and I said the same thing about Tyler Bate. Tyler Bate impressed me in the first match a little bit, but he impressed the hell out of me in this one. So I was more than happy to have Tyler Bate win that match. But again, somebody should really be looking at Jordan Devlin, one of the big companies. I'd make expand it. It could be WWE, Ring of Honor, TNA, or New Japan, because he would fit in with New Japan. He just would. He would fit in with the junior heavyweight division. Simple fact of that. Tyler Bate, though, stands out to WWE because he's different. He is like Jack Gallagher. He's different, and different is good for WWE. And again, that Tyler driver, I don't think I've seen anyone do a Tiger Bomb with that much impact on it. Especially when it's sold properly by the person taking the move. If it's sold and they land properly and throw their arms out and go back like that and sell the move, it looks perfect. So that's that was the final part of the quarterfinal. Yeah, that was the final quarterfinal. Oh, I missed one. Hang on. Nope, I am not. I'm ahead of. No, I am on. I'm in the right order. Semi-finals. Mark Andrews, Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne blew him away. That match blew me away. Match of the tournament. I can't think of another way to word it other than it was match of the whole tournament. Because WWE were trying to sell it as a swerve point where they were going to have Andrews over Dunn. It was never going to happen. I think we all worked that out from the moment we saw that, from the moment we knew Dunn was going to go one-on-one with Andrews. Countless near falls. Countless. Too many to even follow through. Pete Dunne does it again, though. He hits that bitter end. Still don't like it as a finishing move, but he does it and he wins. And again, Pete Dunne's character shows through because of how he acts in the aftermath of the match itself, as opposed to in the match. He goes in, beats the guy up, pins him, gets out, back into his character, and realizes, I can sell myself. Tyler Bate and Wolfgang, another really good match. Tyler Bate, again, proved something in that match. He has the ability to hold an audience. I don't know how he did it. I don't know how he ended up holding the audience's attention and being that over. Sorry, with a crowd that hadn't seen him before. He beat Wolfgang. He beat the second favourite behind Pete Dunne. Tyler Bate, for me, wasn't even the third favourite. There was a couple ahead of him who should have been in that position. But he impressed. He did exactly what he needed to do. After the match, though, Pete Dunne, again, more character development. Pete Dunne beat the living hell out of him. Threw him into the ring post to try and sell a shoulder injury. And it worked. It worked. So the final set as Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. Bonus match time. Neville came out, basically said no one on the continent of Europe could beat him. Now, I wasn't expecting it to be anything. I thought it was just going to be another guy, another cruiserweight. I thought it was going to be Rich Swann. I thought Rich Swann was going to waltz out. Oh no. God, was I wrong. Tommy End turned up. So just a quick note of this. I don't know how aware anybody was of this. Earlier in the day, WWE had guys at Progress in Manchester. So, it was Tommy End was one of those guys. Tommy End had gone down with them. So Tommy End coming out wasn't a shock. Neville won it. Neville's attitude change in the past few weeks has been nothing short of phenomenal. Tommy End is a future star. He's the future of NXT, future of the WWE, and it showed. Finals of the whole tournament. So, ignoring the obvious that Pete Dunne had basically decided he was going to beat everybody up, whether it be after matches, whether it be after matches, in the middle, or in the matches, put that to the back of your head. The display from both men in this had everyone on the edge of their seats. I don't think anyone was sitting down for the final match of the tournament. Everyone in that building was on their feet in the audience. It was something I hadn't seen in a very long time, where the entire audience was standing to watch the final match of the night of a show. This was it, and again, I don't know what it was, but everyone thought Pete Dunne was going to walk away holding that belt, but he didn't. And again, I'll tell you why he didn't. Tyler Bates' age is a huge plus point for the WWE. It's a massive plus point for him. I see it in one perspective of he's still got a lot to learn, but 4 years experience already. It speaks to it. It speaks volumes for for who he is as a competitor. if you saw the tournament, you know he won, Tyler Bate. And I was amazed because he really impressed me throughout the whole tournament. And by the final, I was desperate to see him beat Pete Dunne, because I wanted to see the reaction from Pete Dunne. So when the match was over, after he hit the Tyler Drive in 97 again, there was nothing from Pete Dunne. I think it's because WWE knew they needed to preserve the moment for a history-making moment, and they did that brilliantly. So again, Pete Dunne lost to Tyler Bate. Tyler Bate won the match, won the tournament, and became the first ever WWE United Kingdom champion. Now that's comprehensive for me, because it was either going to be Seven or Dunne that won that match in the tournament. But I'm wrong, and I'm happy to say that I'm wrong. So WWE, again, as with the Cruiserweight Classic, they showcased again that they can put these things together, and they can show the world just how far British wrestling has come. Triple H, William Regal deserve the credit for helping put it together, but you've got to give the guys backstage credit, the production team, the referee, all the people who were involved in that tournament. So WWE did it again, and they're going to do it again in the summer with a women's tournament. Focusing back on this though, this tournament specifically, I'm going to make a very bold statement. The World of Sport special that aired in the new year was absolute crap. It was terrible. In comparison to what we had with this, it was done properly and it worked. Am I the only one who thinks that? No. There are going to be fans who will watch that tournament and watch the World of Sport special and will go, why did they make the World of Sport special when we could have had the tournament earlier on in January? WWE moved the tournament back to accommodate for World of Sport wrestling. And they made the right decision, because the viewing figures dictate that nobody watched World of Sport. Not as many people as ITV had presumed would watch it. But I'll tell you this much. The UK Championship tournament will have helped to increase the subscriber numbers from the United Kingdom for the network. Great tournament, great display from everyone involved in that thing. Tyler Bate won the United Kingdom Championship. He's not signed to the company, but he will be. And you can guarantee that somewhere down the line, in the next few months, WWE will start making a UK-based show for the network, specifically designed to have the United Kingdom Championship defended on it. Don't believe me? Read the comments Triple H made in the build-up. Well, there you have it. Another one in the books, another review done. So I'm going to ask this question. NXT Takeover San Antonio's coming. I will be doing some kind of review for it, whether it's a written review or another video review. Bobby Roode walks in and walks out champion. Fact. The following night is the Royal Rumble. I will review that in depth, because I have a feeling that, based on a comment made by a certain inductee into this year's Hall of Fame, he will probably be in that match. Thank you guys for watching the review. And again, another one coming up for TakeOver San Antonio and for the Royal Rumble.